In this video, I want to talk about maximizing the hours in your day. Now, I know that sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? After all, as everybody knows, there are 60 minutes in an hour and 24 hours in a day. In fact, the only way to make a day longer is to travel westwards in a supersonic aircraft. Sadly, though, Concorde got taken out of service years ago. So seeing as you can't physically make the day longer, you can't actually get more than 24 hours in a day. The only way to actually maximize the hours in your day is to actually use that time more efficiently. And a good way to do this is to maintain balance. Because having a good, healthy work-life balance is absolutely essential for your success. Without complete balance, you run the risk of one or more facets of your business failing because you're devoting more time to one thing than you are to another. And also, it can affect you physically as well. You can develop health problems. For example, you could have a heart attack through all the stress. Or you could suffer burnout where you just really don't want to do anything and you have no motivation at all and you end up wasting more time. Now, there are lots of different things that you need to keep in balance. First of all, you need to balance your work or professional life, your family life, your financial life, your intellectual life, your social life, and your spiritual life. Finding balance in each of these areas will help tremendously in managing your time as they keep you fulfilled and committed. Now, although you won't spend equal amounts of time in each area or time every day in each area, it's important to establish some sort of system so that you can give each area some attention. And eventually, if you spend sufficient quantity and quality of time in each area, your life will be balanced. But if you ignore any one of those areas, you'll get out of balance and potentially sabotage your success. Something else that you must do is learn how to prioritize. And this is something that a lot of people, especially a lot of first-time entrepreneurs, get wrong. They just don't realize why some things should have higher priorities than others. But of course, you can't give equal priority to everything. Some things are by nature more important than others. You naturally know this, but especially when it comes to business, this knowledge gets suppressed. For example, if your house was on fire, you would give the priority to getting the fire put out. You wouldn't spend time answering emails or talking on your phone, unless it was a phone call from the fire brigade or the fire department to say that they were on their way to put the fire out. So you know instinctively that some things are more important than others. Yet the only trouble is when people start their own businesses, or quite often when they go to work in a position where they have to make the decisions, all that goes out the window and they find that everything should be given priority, or they try to give everything priority. And that is a big problem because then you end up wasting a lot of time. So what you need to do is to rate tasks on a scale of 1 to 10. So anything that is number 1 must be done, come what may. And then you work all the way down to number 10, which is if it gets done, it gets done. And if it doesn't, well, no big deal. Then you want to rank what needs to be done in order of importance and make sure that priority tasks get completed before other tasks. So you simply work your way down the scale. Now, one way to help decide what is most important is to keep a log or a journal of everything that you do during your day. And it doesn't have to be particularly fancy. It can be just a notebook and a pen, and you just simply write down what you do during the course of the day. So you can keep track of everything that you're doing throughout your working day and indeed throughout your day in general. because a daily work log helps significantly, because sometimes you don't really realize exactly what you do throughout the day. You do things on autopilot and through force of habit and that sort of thing, so you don't really know. But by writing it all down and keeping a log, then you'll know exactly what you've done and how long you took to do it. So do this every day. Do it for a couple of weeks to start off with, just to make sure that every day you've got a good idea of the sort of routine that you do throughout the day. Then take the time each night to take control of the next day's events and plan them as much as possible. And you want to plan your work each day with this in mind. So you do all that, and then you write down a to-do list with all of the tasks ranked in order of importance. Now, without a daily plan, you can easily get distracted and spend your precious work time on issues that are of no consequence. So you can know what needs to be done and what you don't need to do. And the only way that you can really determine that is by writing it all down and making a plan and sticking to it. Something else that you want to do, especially in business, is control meetings. Now, a meeting is when two or more people get together to exchange common information. And you can do that in person, and that's probably the most common type of meeting, especially in business. You can do it by telephone. And of course, these days you could hold a web conference. You can each have a webcam, and it's almost like being there. It's a virtual meeting, really. And sometimes you can do this via Skype. You can have a Skype conference call where people in different places and sometimes in different countries can all meet via webcam and can hold the meeting there without actually having to physically travel to one particular location or another. You can spend too much time in meetings, though, especially board meetings or committee meetings. You know what they say, a board meeting keeps minutes but takes hours. So you do need to make sure that meetings don't drag on, and meeting times must be managed properly in order to be effective. So before a meeting, ask, is it necessary? And am I necessary? Now, if the answers to either are no, consider either not having the meeting at all or excusing yourself from attending, because obviously your time can be better spent elsewhere. Then what you need to do, if you do have to attend, is to prepare a written agenda for the meeting with times assigned for each item along with the starting time and an ending time. And you want to circulate the written agenda among those who will be attending so that you've got the agenda and people will know in advance what is to be discussed. So you can keep the meeting on track and you can make sure that it doesn't veer off and people don't just start discussing this, that, and the other. So you want to make sure that the meeting is therefore quite focused. And when that happens, it's less likely to overrun. Now, of course, it's ultimately up to you to make the most of your time and to maximize it for optimal results. There's very little time in the course of a day, therefore it's advantageous to find what works, work it diligently, tweak it when necessary, and continue to evolve your business and your life in a positive direction.